Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. I have two special guests for us tonight, so I am so excited. And as usual, let's just kick in. And I want to welcome both of you to the show. It's going to be so awesome. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, Missy.
I'm Missy. I'm an energy healer and intuitive channel, and I work with women mostly. Men are women, but mostly my community is women. And I help people by finding the limiting beliefs and the emotions that are trapped in their bodies to help them live whatever life that they want. So maybe it's more confidence, maybe it's more money, or finding their purpose. So I help people that way.
And hi, my name's Allison. I'm a medium. And so I work with connecting people with their departed loved ones. And I really work with healing grief. I'm also a therapist. So I kind of blend the therapist and the metaphysical in my mediumship readings. And I have a protocol that helps clients heal grief if they've been working on grief for a long time and also have their own spontaneous mediumship experience with their departed loved one. So that's my area of expertise. Lovely to be here.
Awesome. Well, welcome both of you to the show. I'm excited to get things all moving. So, where do you two want to start? I mean, we can start with how you got going in all of this, how you got started, and then we can talk about some of your experiences.
Yeah, so Missy and I both met in classes actually working on our intuition together. And it was in a Zoom class. And it's funny because I saw her in her little square in the Zoom class. I'm like, I like her. And then we did some practice outside of class and we just became friends. That was all during the pandemic, right, Missy?
Yeah, I think it was like one of those things where that class was like really really special class, but there was something about Allison, and so I think we both sort of recognized each other. Like I'm guessing there's past life things. I think we both know about that, some past lives we've had together. And then we go on trips together to places like Salem, Massachusetts, or we went to Mount Shasta, but we have like great adventures together. And what I love about Allison is like I we both like go deep into all the crazy woo-woo things like in our regular we have regular lives, but to be able to have fun and practice our intuitive gifts like together like on a trip or something is
Yeah, it
super
kind of
fun.
gives us the liberty to kind of really be in the metaphysical and be open. And that's so fun because it's such an adventure.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet it would be. That would be so much fun to do that. Just go traveling and seeing what you see. And yeah, awesome. Awesome. That's great. So you both started in about 2019, then in all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would both say that we have had our gifts our whole lives, but really kind of delving into kind of mastering our unique gifts, in that time period, and then have since both started working with clients. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. What is one of your favorite trips together? I'm excited. You got me all like, oh, okay.
I was thinking about this beforehand. I would say there's like at least two or three really good stories. So the one that I think we should start with is Boston,
Oh boy.
actually. Well, Salem, Massachusetts. I mean, we had to go there, right? Because, wishes.
Right.
But we had a really crazy experience. But okay, so this is what I have to say. I am an intuitive healer. So what I work with is tuning into people's energy fields to find the beliefs, and emotions that are trapped in them and move those out. I would not call myself a medium. I'm clairvoyant, so that's my primary gift. So I can see things. So when I work with clients, I'll see their inner children or I'll see their ancestors or spirit guides, but it's not like I'm walking around all the time and I'm like, oh, there. Like we, can kind of turn it off and then turn it on in a session. But what I like about with where we hang out with Allison is she's a medium. So she will like we'll be eating lunch and she'll go, oh, hey, look at all that line of people over there. I'm like, what line of people? And I'll look back, what? Like, she'll like open up my eyes to, oh yeah, there's like is a group of people over there. So I don't know. Allison, should I say the story? Should I tell it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm very clairvoyant. And so, as I was saying, when I tend to hang out with other metaphysical people, I'll stay really open. And then I'm having all these experiences. And it's so fun when you're with friends and you can say, hey, do you see that ghost over there, that being over there? And then they can say, yep, I sure do. And of course, I know that what I'm seeing is true. But it's so fun to have the shared experience of someone
Yeah.
else saying, I see it too. And we can live that shared experience. It's so fun. So go ahead, Missy.
Okay. So Allison and I and our other friend, three of us from intuitive healing class, we went to Salem together and we stayed in an Airbnb together and we booked a tour, like a walking, was it a witch tour? I think it was a witch.
It was all about the history of Salem, and they talked about the trials and everything. Yeah. And it was a ghosty tour. They were talking about ghosts of Salem too. Yeah.
Yes. And it was at night. So we were all walking together in a big group, taking this guided walking tour. And then suddenly I look next to me and I see Allison's face, and she has like always a certain look when something's going on. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? I wonder. So I look over and I go, what's happening? And she goes, oh, there's someone here. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, so that leads me to go, okay, what is it? What is it there? And she goes, oh, there's a guy here and he looks like this and he's like this. And I think he's the Boston Strangler. And I'm like, oh my God, like what? And then did you look him up?
Well,
Did you
wait,
look
so
him up
wait.
after
So
that? Or
so part of the tour, so I have to give a caveat of I didn't grow up in this country, so I don't know a lot of these like historical references. So things that are like in the zeitgeist, sometimes I don't know. So the part of this tour was we ended at the site of his last, unfortunately, killing. We're standing out front, and the guy's talking about the Boston Strangler, and there's this man standing, a ghost, but a man standing right behind me. And he's a handsome guy, dark hair, like kind of young, in his 30s or 40s. And I'm like, I'll be gosh darned if this isn't the Boston Strangler. So I Google him on my phone because I'm not familiar, didn't know what he looked like. And sure enough, I'm like, oh, this is you. Now I could have asked him psychically, but I just went to my phone and I'm like, yep, that's you. And he's like, yep, that's me.
so it's just like those kinds of things. But that was not the end of the story.
No.
So this guy is here and he's following Allison. So that's the other thing that happens. And Allison can talk about this later, but she tends to work with, well, this will be part of the story. She tends to work with people, spirits who are moving to the light. So he had not moved to the light yet. So he's hanging around. So a ghost, like to me, the difference between a ghost and say like a spirit guide or something, a ghost is locational, like location based, like usually stays in a location and they're heavy and dense because they are still living in a loop of that lifetime and they haven't chosen to move on. So that is definitely not my specialty, but it is Allison's natural gift and specialty. So she tends to kind of, I would say, attract people see her light and they're attracted to her and they kind of follow her around. So in some ways, she's like a Pied Piper. So, if you're her friend, you just got to be along for the ride. So we finish out the tour and we go back to the Airbnb. And so the Airbnb has Allison and I staying on the second floor, and our friend is on the first floor. So Allison and I are in rooms across from each other. And I had gone into my room and I used my intuitive work to build a bubble around my room. I said, no ghosts, no spirits in here. And I did a whole energy clearing of the room so that I would feel safe to be in that room. And I figured Allison probably did the same. We were trained similarly. So anyway, that whole night I felt safe, but I'm like, what the heck? All night I heard up and down the hallway, somebody walking up and down the hallway. I'm like, God, what is that? And next morning, I open my door and I'm like, Allison, what's going on? There was somebody in the hallway all night. And so then Allison says,
And I'm all chagrined because when the Boston Strangler showed up to me, he had not yet gone to the light, which happens with some people when they pass, either because they pass suddenly and traumatically, so they're not ready, or they're afraid of religious dogma, like I'm going to be judged and sent to hell, so I better not move on if they're afraid of what they did in their lifetime, or they're worried about loved ones they've left behind, or they're just like, this was the best part of my life, so I want to stay here and experience this over and over. So a variety of reasons that souls don't move on. He had not moved on. And so I said to him on our tour, I said, I'm not doing this now. I'm on my vacation. I have a lot of boundaries. I'm like, I'm on vacation, but you can hang out with me. And when I have time in a few days, I can help you pass on to the light. No problem. So I said, you can come back, you can hang out with me. You're not allowed in any bedrooms. That's the only parameter I put on him initially. Didn't realize. And all night long, I'm a light sleeper too. And I'm like, oh, pacing in the hallway. And you know, when you kind of like wake up, you're barely awake. And I'm like, oh, I'm hearing walking in the hallway, but I'm not even clocking it that it's him. I would have told him to go outside or do something else. But the next morning, when Missy said someone was walking in the hallway all night, I was like, oh, yeah, that was the Boston Strangler. And she was like, what?
Because I'm like, okay, you brought him home? Like to me, I'm like, are you crazy? But on the other hand, I'm not really that scared of him. Like, I mean, like probably if I encountered him myself, but I knew Allison was there. I knew we all are more powerful as spirits in our bodies. But still, I was kind of surprised that she brought him home.
Yeah, and I clearly didn't put enough parameters in place. So then I asked him to just move out to our front porch. And then I asked Missy and Mishka, our other friend that was with us, I said, you know, like I moved him out. Where is he now? And they both, of course, were like, oh, he's on the front porch. They could tune in and sense that. So anyway, he hung out with us for a couple days before I sent him off to the light. But it's so fun that it could be validated by Missy waking up in the morning and saying she's hearing footsteps all night. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was him. Darn it.
One more boundary to add on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you go,
So
I guess. So cool.
Yeah, these are the wild experiences that we have together. Another great
like
one, though,
fun.
it is
Yeah.
fun for wild adventures. But another good one, Missy, is Shasta too.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to tell that one?
Well, I don't even know where to start with that one. I could do the condensed version. So we went to Mount Shasta, which I don't know if you've ever been there, Dana, but it has incredible energy and it's just so amazing there. But we have this beautiful house in the woods with kind of this wraparound porch in the back, a big deck in the back. And I opened the sliding door. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And to the east of this house is just all woods until there's like a town about 20 miles to the east. And so I open the sliding door, and I go out on the deck, and I hear this unearthly, I mean, howling. I can't, it was the kind of noise that if it was very far away, but if it were any closer, it felt like it was like bone shaking, like the baritone of it, the depth of it, it was just like this sound I've never heard from any animal. So I run inside, I'm like, Missy, you gotta come hear this. We're like, what could this be? So you run outside.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh my God, what is it? So we literally stood at the balcony and it was a sound unlike, it was not, a bear. It wasn't a dog. It didn't have that kind of resonance, but it was very, yeah, supernatural feeling. Anyway, we we taped, I mean, we recorded it actually. So Allison has the recording and she ended up sending it off to a Bigfoot expert because it turns out that, I mean, that is actually, we were right in Bigfoot Sasquatch land,
So you heard
is
it.
Mount Shasta, that whole mountain range.
Yeah, we
Yes. And it went on and on for a
a
lot of
couple,
the night.
a couple of
Yeah.
hours. For a couple of hours, it was howling, and
Wow.
dogs were barking back at it from other properties near us. But I clocked it. I figured out it was about a mile away. The sound was because I kind of found out where the dogs were and then kind of gauged from there. So it was about a mile away. But even it coming from a mile away, literally, it felt. I mean, the intensity of the sound, right, Missy, was just
Yeah.
like if you were any closer than a mile away, it would have been so intimidating and so
Yeah.
terrifying. And what we learned was the only animal that makes a sound similar to this would be a grizzly bear, but there aren't any grizzly bears in Northern California. So it was an unknown kind of creature, maybe Sasquatch, but it was very intense. It actually, Missy and I, so we're listening to the sound and recorded some of it. And then I said to Missy, we should jump in the car and drive into the woods and get closer.
Which we did when we were like a movie. Like we
Oh
literally,
my.
okay, so we jumped in the car and we start driving. This is like there's no street lights, there and nothing. It's totally pitch dark. So we start driving and we're like trying, we have the windows down, we're like trying to follow the sound. And then Allison goes, okay, let's stop the car right here. So we stopped the car. And so, and when she stopped the car, the lights went on, right? Isn't that what happened?
All the interior lights went on with all the windows down.
And like we're like, it's kind of like a big sign over your head, like in any scary movie, like get those two dumb girls. Like, we just like freaked out. It was funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But what was interesting is we were going through the woods, we saw an orb on the right side of the car going through the woods, kind of following us. And then when we had stopped, which that was scary because we stopped, all the lights go on and it's pitch black all around us. And we're just like, it's like neon sign. But an orb floated across the road in front of the car, which according to the Bigfoot guy, a lot of people when they encounter Bigfoot have orb experiences. So it was very, very interesting. We didn't stay long in the woods. We were too freaked out.
Yeah, I think after that moment, I'm like, okay, we gotta get out of here. But yeah, we saw, I think, three orbs.
I thought it was two, but three maybe. Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing. The Bigfoot guy said. I wrote it all down at the time, but when I went back to tell him because he called us to interview us. When I went back to tell him, I couldn't remember the facts, and he said, "And Missy too, you got confused too." And he
Yeah.
said that's very common with Bigfoot sightings. Is that he doesn't know what the phenomenon is, but that people get very confused later on and can't remember. Like I couldn't remember what I wrote in my initial report to him, even though it was very clear in my mind when I wrote it all out and when we experienced it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting. Okay, a few years back, I heard a strange sound in my front yard. I live in the city, and that was like something I have never heard. And the dogs in our area at that time, they were not barkers. You hardly ever heard a dog. So it wasn't a dog, it wasn't a fox, it wasn't a coyote, it wasn't anything like that. And then later on, I'm looking in my backyard and I see one of my fence posts that has Sasquatch on it. It's like the face of a Sasquatch. And
Wow.
here fairly recently, what Friday? No, not Friday. Probably Thursday. I was talking with somebody for the show, and they're like, "Yeah, you have one in your backyard, and he's been watching you." And so she got a name of this one, and so he even asked me. I go, "I have more friends that would like to be here with you. Is that okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So now in my backyard, I have two sticks crossed, making an X with bubbles right there. So inviting them. So,
Amazing. You know, the big guy that we talked to said he really believes that certain people attract, Bigfoot and we were talking about we feel like Bigfoot, whatever you experience, it kind of matches your own energy too. Like your experience of them will match your energy. So interesting.
yeah, I feel like this guy was like really friendly. He's just like a brotherly or a son, I should say, because he did say how old he was, and he's only a year younger than my own son. So he's very young, very young. And so I don't know if this is his family that he's inviting with him or if it's just his pals or something, I don't know. His family, I don't know.
it's interesting because my feeling about the Bigfoot that we heard calling for all those hours is I wonder if juvenile male Sasquatches, if we think about mammals, are sent out of the family group, then they have to create a new group, like find a mate. And I wonder if that calling is like calling in a mate, you know? And the Bigfoot guy that we spoke to also encountered what he thought was a juvenile male that was alone. And so it's interesting, Dana, for you to maybe have a juvenile
Yeah.
alone male because it maybe that's when they're more around and present because they're searching
Yeah.
for their kind or like beings. I don't know.
Heck, I don't know. I don't know, but the sound was like, okay, that's something that I've never heard in this area. I think I'm heading back in because it was dark out and everything. I'm like, okay. And it was like across the street. Okay, I live in a cul-de-sac and the neighbor kind of diagonal from us is the backyard. And it was in their front yard is where I heard it. So it was very, very close. But I couldn't see it, but I heard it and it was like, don't think so. But now I've learned a lot about it. So I'm all like, come on. I want to talk with you. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought Missy and I on that trip definitely called in Bigfoot because I don't know, we both had a sense that weekend. It was on our minds a little bit. I think we both had a sense something was going to happen. And we had a second experience that same weekend, actually, at a place called Fairy Falls, which in up there in Shasta, where there have actually, since we found out, lots and lots of Bigfoot sightings. And we had like a little stone thrown down a hill at us, and we saw like a shadow figure move from tree to tree. So who knows? It's all fascinating.
Yeah, that is really cool. I'm so excited to be able to see him. I guess he's been watching me. He sees me through the windows and everything. I go, just don't watch me when I'm getting dressed. Of course, I have my windows closed anyways, but you know,
It's good to have
it's like
boundaries.
Yeah.
there's boundaries here. Yeah, but I've given him, windows open, you're free to, come visit. Windows closed. You need to stay back. But yeah, it's all new to me, but I'm having a blast with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I find that so interesting, right? That you pull us into this and you've talked to other people about Sasquatch, but then isn't it funny how the vibration matches and you get people that probably talk about Bigfoot, you know? You're working in that vibration right now.
Yeah, it's really cool. Oh, yeah. I'm just waiting to see him. I know I'll get freaked out at first, but I'm still excited to see him. But
Yeah.
so, what else have you guys experienced? What other kind of tours would you like to talk about?
Well, another good one, Missy, was when we were in Paso.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Missy's always was, as long as I've known Missy, she told me ever since she was little, she's had a fear of mirrors. And I said to her, well, that's because scrying, the gift of scrying is where
Mm.
you use a mirror and you get clairvoyant information from a mirror, from any shiny surface. And I said, so this must be a gift of yours from a past life. And I said, really, you should deal with this fear because she was covering every hotel room she'd stay in. You were covering mirrors with towels and all kinds of elaborate things.
It's true. When I was 3, so I could see ghosts and things or spirits since I was really little. And we had this big giant mirror in the hallway between my room and my parents' room. And so I would get scared at night because I'd see things, but I would be so scared because I have to run across the hallway and I would encounter that mirror. So, and then I would see things in the mirror. And it's like one of those things I think a lot of people, maybe you, maybe people in your audience, have these gifts when we're young and we don't know how to speak about it. We can't share it. We don't have the language for it. Maybe we have conditioning around that's weird or bad. So I didn't really know how to talk about it. And I remember my parents were like, well, you're like kind of a scaredy cat type of person, right? But I was like, oh, in my mind, but I can see things. So anyway, ever since then, I actually, yeah, have been scared of mirrors. So if I am in a hotel room or somewhere, I will cover the mirror if it's like facing me because it's scary, but it's also information. It's not restful because if I'm laying down, there's stuff in there and it's not relaxing. But but the funny thing was, so Allison knew this about me, and we were shopping in Paso Robles, and literally, I don't know if you remember this, Allison, we were at a bookstore, and right there, right in front, was this book, How to Scry, like for beginners or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, that book's for you." And I was like, oh, it is for me, right? Like I'd never seen that book before. I didn't even really know what scrying was. And it was like literally right when we walked in on the table. And I was like, oh, yeah, I better get that. So like that's also what I love is like when we're with our friends and stuff, we can tune into each other like that thing's for you. Like I think we've done that a lot. Like that's for you, or that's for you, or that's a message for you. And so I got that book, and then that night, this is the thing. This is a great teacher. So she's like, okay, Missy, this is what we're gonna do. So all three of us went into the bedroom where I was staying that had this big mirror, and she's like, okay, let's just sit here in the dark, and I'm here, Mishka's here. You're just gonna tell me what you see, and it was like it actually kind of makes me emotional because I think this is healing the inner child when I think about it because this makes me emotional. Nobody ever sat with me when I was a child and said, like, well, tell me what you see. Like, think about that. Like, that is so healing to your inner child if you never um, were believed or I don't know. So it was very meaningful. So she sat next to me, and our friend Michigan was there on the bed, and I just started reading whatever came into the mirror. And that was really powerful, like to see, oh, I don't need to be scared of it. Oh, it's okay. Like it's comforting. My friends are here. I'm not going to die if I look in there and I can see things. So that was, yeah, really nice for me. And and I'll let Allison speak about this part because there's a whole thing about time in there.
Yeah, so it's funny, Dana. Before we started the podcast, we were chatting for a few minutes, and I was saying that time's been really wonky for me lately. Like I'm off by days, or time's moving quickly or slowly, and you were kind of agreeing, right? That
Yeah, my
time just
computers have
feels
been
fun.
going funky. I mean, my programs aren't working. I'm like behind on everything. And it's more my computer than time itself, but my computer's just like all wonky right now.
Well, it was so interesting because after Missy had scribed for a little while, we were all just sitting in meditation. And then I don't actually remember how this happened. I don't remember who said it, but someone said, "Oh, Einstein is here," which I believe there are ascended masters on the other side that we all can connect with that have collective knowledge and information for the collective that we can tap into. And so, anyway, Einstein gave us a whole lecture about time and bending time and shifting timelines. It was kind of like a quantum physics lecture. I mean, I couldn't really repeat it to you. We were shown like I could see ribbons of energy that were different colors. And he was basically talking to us about you can just skip over to a different ribbon,
Yeah.
like a different time. Like you can move time. And I don't know, Missy, maybe you could say it better than me. It was very
No, it was very
complex.
complex, but exactly the same thing. Well, because we were both clairvoyant, so I think it was more I was understanding through what I was seeing, but it was very complex. But it was all these lines running together and almost the idea that it's easy. It's like you can do that. Maybe that's what we do in 5D, but it's able to just bump over. And it sounded like it wasn't a big deal. It was easy to do, and it was something that didn't require effort. So it's like a skipping
Yeah.
and a jumping there and back or there and back and things like that.
Right,
Yeah, and
because
I'm
I think in
seeing
quantum physics they say that, sorry, Dan, in quantum physics, I think they say that we view time as linear, but that really there is no time, like past and present and future are all occurring simultaneously, which kind of really breaks my brain. But
It's really interesting. I think I have that concept. I think it, I'm seeing it, I have to see things. So I think I could see all that happening. I could see how it works and everything, but it's still mind-boggling, you know.
Yeah.
It
And with your
is. So the way we
yeah.
decided to play with it was we went to we were going to wineries. We were in Paso Robles. That's what you do. You wine taste. We love drinking. I make it sound like luscious. But anyway, we were wine tasting the next day, and we said, "Why don't we do this fun activity? Why don't you share, Missy, what we did?"
Yeah, so we said, hey, we're gonna see if we can refill our cup of wine or our glass of wine. So we were at one winery. So we would just try, like, can we just refill it? Like, are we able to do that?
Like, can we flip time in that
Oh,
way, where we go back?
oh,
Yeah,
that could get
Yeah,
very
so we all
dangerous.
practiced.
right.
Well, in this
Very
case, it was very
dangerous.
positive.
Okay,
So
we'll go with that one.
we were sitting there and actually, so we were all trying, and then I don't even remember how, I'm not sure how I did it, but I was able to refill the cup, the glass. But I don't still know exactly how, other than we were all intending, so we used our intention to create something.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all like took drinks of our glasses, and then we all kind of eyeballed all of our glasses on the counter. And then we all closed our eyes and set our intention. And Einstein was saying it's kind of like flipping the page of a book. Like you just flip over, you flip back. So we were like, okay, we're setting our intention. And then we opened our eyes, and Missy's glass had filled up again. Me and Mishka, we were not able to refill our glasses, but hers changed completely. It was so exciting.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
weird thing. I will also say that I think that when you get two or more friends together who are intuitive, I think it changes the field. So we actually, when we're in person, when we're like in workshops together, retreats together, or when we're just friends together, when we all use our intention, we raise that vibration. I think more is possible for us together than alone, probably.
Yeah, I think we amplify,
Yeah.
one another.
Yeah, I can feel that with me, when I'm around other people, you feel the energy a little higher and you feel that everything just kind of seems to work better than just by yourself. Yeah, that's on
Yeah.
YouTube. That is
I
so
think it's
cool.
also I think it's also because it's the element of permission. So when we're with others who like, I see that, or do you notice this? It gives us permission, like, oh, it's okay to tune in because a lot of us grew up where we didn't feel that it was okay, or we shut off around certain people. But when we're in a space where it's safe to just tune in, I think that also allows us to see and feel more.
Yeah, it's something I'm really passionate about is helping people when they feel fearful become more empowered because I was very afraid as a child, and I was fortunate in that I would tell my mom what I was experiencing, and she wouldn't shame me or doubt me. She would just check in with me, like, "Are you okay?" And I don't think I told her how scared I was because she wasn't really aware all the time. I mean, I was having so many experiences. So she wasn't always aware that I was afraid. And so once I got older and I felt more empowered, that's a place I love working with clients that, feel scared and disempowered because we are so powerful, as Missy was saying, in the physical body. Nothing can harm us, we're in the physical when we set our intentions and our boundaries. And I know there's so many, many gifted people that are just so fearful.
Yeah, I feel that. And that's why we have the show is so we can let them know they're okay. You're okay. You got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you don't always have to understand in order to be okay. Like the Bigfoot sound in the woods. We think maybe it was a Sasquatch. We'll never really know. And that's okay. We don't have to fully understand in order to stay in our own power and feel empowered, you know?
Yeah. That's beautiful. You two are beautiful. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Thank you for
I have a
having us.
quick. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I do see things in my mirror too, Missy. I do see things in my mirror. I will get out of my shower and I take hot showers. So when the mirror's all foggy and everything, I'll see a face in there and I will outline the
Yeah.
face with my finger. And before it starts to droop down, I try to get a picture of it. So I have several different pictures, different faces that I've seen in the mirror. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we can work with that. We can ask, like, oh, can you show me more detail? So if you see something and you're like, not sure, not clear, you can ask. You can say, oh, can you show me a little bit more about that? Or is this a spirit guide? Is this an ancestor? Is this an animal? Like, what is it? Or why am I being shown this? Is like another great question to ask. And that information will come to us. And also, I want to speak to all your listeners. We all three are clairvoyant, sounds like. So that means, right, that we can see a clear sight. That clairvoyance is clear sight, but there are actually eight clairs, and we all have some version of it. In fact, most people I work with, I feel like they have at least two, sometimes more, that we're all born with. So it's not just us three who have developed these things. Everybody has something. It's not going to always be I see. It could be I hear something, I feel something, I smell something. It could be through touch. So just in this conversation, know that we're talking about clairvoyance, but that's not the only way. There's many other ways to get information outside of the five senses.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, the Bigfoot, right? That would be
Yeah.
clairaudient, like we could hear it.
Mhm.
I'm very claircognizant, so I just know things to be true. But it is a lot of people feel like seeing is believing. We're taught that. So clairvoyance, a lot of emphasis is put on clairvoyance, on clear seeing, but it's okay, but there's a lot of other great ways that we all get information. And I always say to people, when you just feel the hair on the back of your neck kind of stand up, and it's almost outside sometimes of your conscious awareness that something's up, that's a clair. That's your
Yeah.
clair sentience coming online saying to you, hey, there might be a problem here in your environment. We all have
Yeah.
the ability to connect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I have a touch of everything. I haven't tasted anything yet, but I smell things. I have felt someone rub my arm. I have seen an orb with my bare eyes. I hear things. I'm cognate, um, voyant. I kind of have a bit of everything, and I get that. I get them all.
Yeah, yeah. And some people like they're scared, right? So they don't want to see things, so they'll shut that down, but they might hear
Hmm.
things, So, we have more power than we're even aware of because some of us will shut things down because that just feels like too much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, awesome,
And a
awesome,
great
awesome.
way.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say a great way to, if you think like you might have certain gifts, which I'm sure you guys do, but is to get into the energy of curiosity and fun and play, because those are high vibrational energies. And if we don't take it so seriously, like, I've got to see something or I've got to experience my gifts in a certain way, when we can be open to the possibilities of like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm open to information. We can ask our guides, hey, show me, see, sense, or feel, show me in some way where my gifts are. We will get information. But when we don't cling too tightly for onto the way that we have to see, sense, or feel it or get information, we're much more open to, oh my gosh, it comes in this way and it was so easy. So it does get to be easy. It does get to be fun. It gets to be joyful. So really approaching our spiritual gifts that way, I think like is a great way to begin.
For sure.
Excellent, excellent. So, well, what other stories? Any other trips you guys have taken together that you would like to share, or should we have a drink on this?
Huh.
Well, there's a lot at Shasta, other things at Shasta with Dan.
Oh, right.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
let's see. Also, we went to, Well, we just went to Santa Fe together, and I had a ram spirit guide come up and talk to me, which was really cool because we were all hiking and we're like, we played like, well, we were playing a fun manifesting game. We're like, what do you want to manifest? What do you want to manifest? And somebody said, were you the one who said you wanted to see the tarantula? Oh God. Okay, yeah. See, I don't like spiders. So I think it was Allison. So we were out hiking and Allison goes, I want to manifest seeing a tarantula. And I'm thinking, I don't, but okay, fine. So literally we're walking and then right there we see a tarantula. Like,
Right on
and
the
I'd
path.
never seen one in the wild, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd never seen one in the wild. I'd always wanted to, and it was right there on the path.
So we're like, oh my gosh. So we started playing this game, like, what do we want to manifest? So then she goes, well, what do you want to manifest? And I said, I want to see a ram, a bighorn sheep. And so I was like, I don't know, that'd be cool, right? That'd be cool. So literally, we're walking out onto this bluff, and there are two bighorn sheep, like big with the giant horns and stuff. And so we're like, oh my God, that's so cool. So we were walking around, like, we don't want to get too close or anything. And then I just felt like the other two of them went to go look at the babies. There are baby sheep over somewhere else. So they went over to, everyone else went over to walk and see the babies. But there was something in me that said, no, stay still, like stay where you are. So I just stayed where I was. And there was a ram, like he was pretty far away, like 20 feet or something. And I started like, he put his head up and he looked at me and I said, okay, I'm going to talk to him. So I literally said, I put my heart open to his heart and I said, I see you, right? And literally that's all I said. And I just stood there and like he literally looked straight at me and he walked directly toward me. And I don't know like how many feet away he was. He was
He was
like close.
he wasn't far. He was maybe 8 feet from you, if that. He wasn't far away. He
I,
got really close.
He he got really close
me.
where there was like a part of me that was like, should I be running? Should I be scared? But I tuned in and I said no. So I was very conscious of like, okay, the human part of me that was scared. But when I really
Mhm.
tuned in and I connected to him, I knew like I'm completely fine. We're gonna have a conversation. Like I knew it. So he just like walked and he stood right in front of me. We're just looking at each other for like the longest time. And I just said, like I see you, like I like love you. Like I really just went heart open to him. I said, oh, is there anything that you want to say, or is there anything we want to share? And it wasn't. I do work with animals a lot of times where they'll show me a picture and I'll be able to communicate with their emotions and things, but it wasn't like that. It was very different. It was just a like a heart connection and that was like really powerful. And then at a certain point, then he stopped and walked away. But afterward, all this other information came to me because I was born in the year of the sheep in Chinese zodiac. I'm a Capricorn sun, which is right that ram. And when I was young, I was an artist and I used to draw rams like all the time. Like I used to get picture books of rams and then I would draw the rams. And I just think like there's just a million things that relate to the ram in my life. And I just thought it was like super powerful. And it's also one of those things where when we have a mystical experience, you can feel it in your body. Like it's unexplainable. It's like you can't unsee it, you can't unfeel it. It's one of those things it lands in a certain way
There's
in
a
your body.
resonance that you feel,
Yeah.
and we could see from a distance the intentionality of the ram connecting with her and staring into her eyes. We could see it from a distance. That there wasn't just like the animal just moseying around and looking at her. There was a lot of intention in connecting with her. And you maybe you don't remember, Missy, but you said at the time that the ram said to you, I see the light in you. You said to
Oh
the
yeah.
I see the light in you,
Mm,
and the ram said, I see
exactly.
the light in you.
That's right. That is exactly right. See, like we forget all these things. Also, I felt that's funny because you remember the words. I remembered a deep heart connection. But yes, that's right, because I had written that in my journal.
And I bet you drive a ram too.
I I don't, but maybe I
Oh,
should.
okay.
Yeah, you definitely
Just
figured
kidding.
out your spirit animal for sure.
Yes.
That is
Yeah,
really cool. That is so cool.
yeah.
So do you resonate with the wilderness like that for being around? And do you
You mean
resonate
like,
with the wilderness, like
oh,
the open lands and stuff? Or is it more like
I
waters?
actually I actually am really a woods person, so I don't know. We were actually in Santa Fe. We weren't actually in the woods, but I definitely resonate more with woods than say the ocean. But one thing I think environment is really important, and we can also tune into our past lives based on what type of environments we like. For example, I realized I am the person who likes to be I like to either be high up, so that's like a kind of mountaintop look, or I like to be in a cave, almost like when I do my readings with clients, I kind of turn off the lights, I close my eyes. I actually have my desk sort of in a corner because there is something about that that feels safe and right to me. And I was always the kid who was like building forts and like going into the dark. And I know that's connected to a past life where I was an oracle, a bee oracle, and we used to read as a group of women in caves. So to me, being in a group of women is comfortable. Being in a cave, reading energy or getting information in a cave-like atmosphere is very comfortable and normal to me.
How about you, Allison?
Well, I also am very good at reading past lives, and we've had Missy and I. It turns out have had a lot of past lives together. But another experience that we had in Shasta with past lives, and I definitely think that being in nature and being away from the busyness of daily life can really help anyone kind of ground into more of their clairs and their intuitive senses. So I think it's really helpful to get out into nature. And that's why Shasta and Santa Fe, they're great trips because we can kind of just ground ourselves and kind of open up. But in Shasta, we did like a day with a shaman where we went to various kind of metaphysical sites around Mount Shasta. And the day that we arrived, the night in our house, I said, "Oh, do you see that woman sitting over in the corner of our living room on the floor, like with her back against the wall, knees up? You know how you would sit on the floor with your back on the wall with your kind of knees up?" I said, "Do you see that woman, Missy?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, now that you pointed out." And she was like a very pale, blonde, fair skinned, all dressed in white woman. Not like tune into her, and she's totally like not threatening, but she's letting us know she's there, but she's just hanging out. And I'm like, interesting, don't know what that's about. So we go on this journey the next day, and we're about halfway through the day, and we're in the woods up near the top of Mount Shasta with this shaman, and he was taking us to this spiritual site, and he wanted us to go one way, and I said, "No, we have to go that way." Because I
Yeah.
had seen a man, a blonde man, very, again, fair skinned, dressed all in white, standing over in a grove of trees, like that way. And the shaman was like, "Great." He was like, "Okay, we're going that way." I'm like, "Great," because I've got to go. I'm not going, but if you guys go that way, I'm not going. I got to go here. So we walk up. It was like there's some rocks and trees all around. And I stood in the spot where I saw this man standing, and I just started sobbing. It just
Yeah.
like this emotion came over me. I don't even know, I can't even name it. It was like a knowing, a remembering. I don't know, but I just started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And the shaman said, "I know where we need to go next." And so he took us to meditate in this specific area in Mount Shasta that's supposed to be one of the portals to ancient Lemuria. And we did a
Mm.
guided meditation with him where we both went back in time to ancient Lemuria, and we had our individual experiences, but of course they all matched when we talked about them after. And that's where I first learned that I had a past life in ancient Lemuria. I think a few lives actually in ancient Lemuria, and those were Lemurians that I was seeing when we were in Shasta. And of course, Missy's had a past life in Lemuria too. So, you can't make this. What I love is you can't make this stuff up, especially when your friend's like, "Yep, I'm having that experience too." And it's so
Right.
wonderful to connect with our past life selves and ourself across time, because you learn so much about different themes you're working on. And, there's threads of past lives where we're working on similar themes in this life. And it's very empowering. Again, another place of finding empowerment and more knowledge about yourself.
That's awesome. I mean, what a beautiful way to learn about yourself and with friends and, the traveling and the experimenting and how exciting. How exciting.
Yeah, Dana, we could go on and on and on. I mean, we've gone all over the map today.
Bring it on. Keep going. Keep going. I would love to talk more and just experience more. I would like to get out like that and do some experimenting and seeing some of these places like that, like Mount Shasta and all, because I think it would be so exciting. See what I
Yeah,
can
it's
figure
really
out,
neat.
learn.
Yeah, it's really neat to go to these kind of metaphysical centers, and you find there are places on the planet, right, that really have a specific energetic field that is very interesting.
And I think we're called to certain areas to explore. And it turns out like a lot of things that Allison and I are interested in are the same areas. At least like we sort of feel called to like Scotland coming up. And I don't know why. That was something I had felt in me for a while now and something she had felt in her for a while now. So I think we're also it's fun to listen to where we feel called and then like, wait, are there other people that we know who are also called there? And why are we being called there? Is it to heal something? Is it to discover something? Is it to complete something? But I love just being able to follow where I feel most called to visit next.
Very exciting, ladies. Oh, it's an hour and I can go like 5 more hours with you too. So you are welcome to come back and talk more about your different experiences and we'll travel around the world with you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It was really fun.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome back anytime. So if you have any last words for people or anything at this point,
I mean, what I really most hope that people get from, listening to this is like the sense of adventure and fun, and that vibration is empowering, and it's a beautiful way to kind of face life and any challenges that come up. Is like, okay, this may be, I may be going through a challenging time, but how can I see the adventure in it? Or try to be gentle with myself through it, or, find the learning in it so that I can empower myself. Because vibration is, just like mindset, like where we set our mind to. And so I hope that that can come through in this podcast. It's just adventure and fun.
Exactly. We take ourselves so seriously. I know I have to work on this all the time, but when we can just kind of take a little bit step back and go, oh, isn't that curious? Isn't that interesting? How can I wonder about that more? And I think when we get in that vibration, that curiosity, a little bit of humor, I think that makes life work a little bit easier. And also, I think that opens us up to more of spirit, actually, too.
Definitely.
excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you both so very much for being on the show tonight. And if anyone else out there has a story you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.